What makes the difference when you're starting your business? You've just launched, you're out there getting your clients, you're trying to build up your client base, a database, you're trying to get the list of clients that are going to fund your business, give you profit, and to get going. But what makes the difference between the businesses that do find the clients and succeed and become actual businesses to the ones that close down? Well, join us today for a startup story from the very beginning, selling off a PlayStation, launching a business from home, and turning it into something a little bit bigger. The extraordinary belongs to those that create it. Rebelling against business plans and debt, rebelling against what society expects of us to build cool businesses, make money, have fun, and do good. Let's create something extraordinary together. Welcome to the Rebel Entrepreneur. Welcome to the Rebel Entrepreneur podcast. And one of the things as you're growing your business is the stories of other entrepreneurs, how they've grown their businesses, how they've succeeded, failed, learnt, and made progress. And Sean Jenkins in season 1 said that startup stories are the oxygen for business that keep you going because you can see what other people have gone through. And I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time. I have with me Ryan and Emma. Welcome to the show, Ryan and Emma.
Hello.
Hello.
That is the correct welcome. Yes. We've just been having a long chat about Ryan being censored on the podcast for making jokes. But you're both on the show. Ryan and Emma started Millwood May. They're actually the accountants for Rebel Business School and for Katie and I personally. They look after all our stuff. And we have a tendency of emailing Emma with tax questions on a Sunday when Katie and I are going through our things. And we regularly email you with specific tax point, Emma. How do we do this? How do we do that? And you love our tax questions.
I always look forward to those emails. Yeah, I always look forward to a Sunday when I get that email through and I'm like, oof, I'm going to have to wait till Monday to reply, but I really want to reply now.
Do you not just save them up for the weekend? I can't wait to reply for these.
We don't have anything else to do at the weekend as accountants, so why
not? So Ryan and Emma started their business right about the time where I turned into a limited company with Rebel Business School, and Simon came back and joined. And it feels like we've kind of been growing our businesses together over the last, however long it is. Like, it's been 10 years since the first Rebel Business School, but probably 6 since we went limited, and we've been growing along. Like, what inspired you both to start your accountancy practice, Millwood May? Like, why did you start?
Do you want to go?
I suppose for me, I kind of felt trapped with my job, is how I felt. So I suppose freedom to kind of do what we kind of wanted when we wanted to do it, and not kind of answer to, oh, do you know what? Can I take this time off to go on holiday? And so that was my main kind of driving force.
Yeah, I was similar. I'd always known that I wanted to work for myself, having been employed for a long time, and just, I didn't mind being employed, but I just had this urge to kind of do my own thing. And yeah, as I said, everything you put into a business, you get out of it. Whereas when you're employed, you often don't see what you're kind of creating even. You're just like a small part of like a massive organization or whatever, because I'd always worked in big companies. So I always knew I kind of wanted to do my own thing, but it was just when and what in. And I guess as an accountant already, it was naturally kind of a good fit to become kind of an accountant in practice. And then obviously joining together with Ryan, he had a lot of the practical experience that I didn't really have because I was from a bigger firm. So it kind of enabled me to kind of do that. Whereas I think if I tried to do it on my own, I don't think I'd have been able to do it at all.
Yeah. So at the start, it was a lot of questions from Emma to me, and it was very tiring. And now it's completely flipped, and I ask a load of questions, and she just gives me dirty looks.
Really? I did not give you dirty looks.
It's like, not another question, Ryan.
I do roll my eyes. I do roll my eyes, but I try not to. I roll my eyes. I say I'm too busy, and then 5 minutes later, I'll have researched it and found the answer.
She's got this special skill, Alan, where she can literally kind of find the answer to any question within a few minutes. And I don't know how she does it, because it takes me half an hour to find out exactly the same information that she finds out in a minute. So
Yeah,
a superpower.
We have got different skill sets. So I'm good with words and kind of reading through lots of text at once. And obviously that's not an actual accountant skill. So,
No.
but give me kind of working out someone's pay when they've been, started throughout the month or been on holiday, and my head would just, I'm not very good with numbers, actually.
And that's where I come in.
I don't like to admit that, but yeah, Ryan is good with numbers.
So then she's like, Ryan, can you help me with this?
So it all evens out.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I think that's so important, because my reflection of working with Simon is we have very different skill sets, very different ways of looking at life, but we complement each other brilliantly. I'm the drive, I'm the let's do things, I'm the push, and Simon is the reflective thinker. And considers stuff a lot more than I do. But without me, nothing would happen. And probably without him, I'd make a bunch more mistakes and wouldn't think it through properly. So together, we do really well.
Whereas on your own, it wouldn't work so much. So I think it's great when you find that in a business partner. Often businesses don't succeed, or business partners fall out. But touch wood, we've kind of been going since 2014, and we haven't really had any major fallouts. I mean, we do have disagreements, but
that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you have disagreements, and so you kind of have a chat about it. Sometimes we have to sleep on it and kind of think, do you know what? Go back in the morning and go, actually, you were right. We should go this way. Emma does this.
That's normally what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I go away and think about how Emma was right, and I come back with my tail between my legs, and just like, yeah, you were right again. Emma does this funny thing where, like, she'll get an idea and she'll be like, wouldn't it be great if such and such, right? Which is her way of saying, wouldn't it be great, Ryan, if you implemented this new thing that I've just kind of had an idea for?
She's very good at implementing. I am not very strong at that. So, as you said, Alan, it works well when you've got someone that, where you complement each other. And
I think so one thing I'd like to comment on then of Ryan saying that disagreements are good, because I think so many people avoid disagreements, they avoid confrontation, and then it just blows up later. Whereas actually, if you talk about it, you disagree, and then you work through it. It's actually an incredibly important point. And a lot of families are taught confrontation is bad. Like an argument, and it doesn't have to be like a shouting argument. That's not what I'm talking about. But just a discussion about different viewpoints can be seen as bad. But I actually think it's one of the most important things you can do to get on the same page and work things through together. So I think that's incredibly important. And a question for you, like, how did you find each other, and how did you have the confidence to go into a partnership together to build a business? Because that's a big step with a lot of trust.
Do you want to answer this one, or shall I? We went on a double date, Alan.
Not as a
Did
couple.
you?
I love that. We went on a double date. So
were you the opposite on the double date? Like Ryan was with you, were the sort of opposite sides. I love that.
Correct. So my friend from school is David and it's Emma's ex-husband, and I was with my partner at the time. And David, I knew from school, and then he kind of said, "Hey, Emma's looking to set up a business. You're looking to set up a business."
And we went to Pizza Express.
As
a date, and then
we set up like a Google Drive, and then we'd have like loads of ideas in there that we both kind of accessed, and we were like, "Oh, this could be the logo," and like the logo doesn't even matter, but we spent an overly long amount of time on the logo. Like, it doesn't matter, by the way.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Everyone does. I did.
Yeah.
I spent so much time on it, and then a few years in, you're like, "Why did I bother?" Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. They will buy you. It just needs to be a color, and that's it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Correct.
We've changed it quite well. We've changed it since, haven't we? Anyway. So,
Correct. People buy people. They're not buying the logo.
Yeah.
Well, some people might be, but most of the time they're kind of buying you as a person.
Or your brand that you've created. It doesn't have to be from the logo, but it's kind of how you're presenting yourself online and also kind of in person, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what they're buying.
Yeah.
So you had this Google Drive. Sounds like a relationship. We've got together. We've created a Google Drive. Was the idea immediately accountancy, or did you have other ideas you were batting about? Like, how did you end up on an accountancy firm together?
So it was basically what Ryan did already. So Ryan worked in a small practice, so he had all the skill set, and I think you'd been involved in setting up their systems as well there. So he kind of he knew exactly what was needed to set up a successful practice at that point potentially. And then I was just kind of I was there to enable him to do that by giving him a practicing certificate. So you have to have a practicing certificate in order to practice, and Ryan hadn't passed his exams.
No,
yet.
I'd passed my
He'd
exams,
passed his exams.
but you need 2 years of post-exam experience to be able to kind of set up and trade.
Yeah.
You know.
So basically, I had to sign off all his work for the first 2 years.
Although I was the most experienced of the two,
it was
which is a weird
ridiculous.
situation. Yeah.
So you set up. Did you just immediately go full in? Did you quit both of your jobs? Did you go full in? Did you move into Emma's spare room to set up the business? Like, how did this work?
Oh no, he was not moving in. I made him sell his PlayStation though. So, well, I didn't actually. You did yourself.
So basically, I was very addicted to FIFA at the time, Alan, and we were both working for. we were both working from home, and so I was like, you know what? If I'm working from home, I need to sell my PlayStation, else I'm never going to get any work done. So I sold FIFA, I sold the PlayStation, and I've been clean for 7 years now, and it feels great.
He has the old relapse, but
Yeah, that is true.
I know.
Yeah, I'll go around someone's house and they're like, "Here's a controller." You know, they're enablers.
I
think it's really
The
interesting.
next day, and he's tired, and I'm like, "You been up playing FIFA?"
He's been up all night. But it's actually really important when you start your business in your home. Like, one of the most incredible things about being your own boss is that you're your own boss and you get to decide what you do with your time. But that's also one of the biggest risks, because you get to decide to do what your time. And if you are addicted to a game, a TV show, or something else, it's easy for days to vanish. It's very easy. I know I've done it in the early days. If I wasn't enjoying it, I could quite easily put off sales calls and watch a bunch of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
It was
And
easier.
We had, So we both worked from home initially, but we didn't go in it full time to start with. We started part time, so we kind of I think I was working 4 days a week still. And then
John Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah, John Lewis, and then I dropped down to find another job for 2 or 3 days a week, and then Ryan was contracting to another firm, so we didn't go all in at the start. Which, because reflecting back, that probably was the right thing to do. It's very hard to build a business, to have a business from the off, to build a client base with accountancy especially.
Yeah. And the thing is, if we went full on in, like literally your salary goes from X amount to nothing, you know?
Zero.
Actually negative. Probably negative, because you're spending on like, I need this bit of equipment, this bit of software, you know?
Yeah.
So to kind of go subcontracting, so I did 4 days a week subcontracting and 1 day on the business, and then slowly build up your client base, and then, you know, go to 3 days working and 2 days on the business, you know, and we slowly did that until I think it took us 2 years maybe until we went full time.
I think it was about 2 years, 3 years, where we were kind of all in.
But I would definitely recommend doing that if you can. Yeah.
What was that journey like, finding those first customers? Because, I mean, in our business, Rebel Business School, sometimes it can take 6 months to close a customer. It's not like you meet someone and you sign the paperwork the next day. And I think there's different sales cycles for different size businesses. But what was that like? How long did it take you to win your first client?
I think it was quite quick, actually. So within a couple of weeks of setting up, we'd set up the website, we'd set up Facebook, we'd put out a post, and you basically want to lean on your friends and family and their network. And so you just say, hey guys, we've just set up. Does anyone know anyone, and then if they're nice friends and family, then they'll try and find people for you. So quite quickly, I think we kind of got our first client. But yeah, go on.
I think it was quite quickly, but it was slow. So you would have to do a lot of work to get one of those clients.
Yes.
So on the Facebook groups, we'd be scouring them. But there were lots of kind of local Facebook groups, and we'd be typing in like search names like accountant Wokium, and like people would post, oh, I'm looking for an accountant, and then we'd message them. And so it was a lot of hard work to get a few clients, especially if we hadn't got that kind of that warm lead already through our friends and family. So we were kind of just, but I do remember getting my first client, and it was a lady who came round to Ryan's house actually, and it was, I think it was a very small fee. She was a sole trader, but just winning that first client felt really good, and it felt like I kind of validated what we were doing, even if it was a very small fry at that point. But yeah, we would get excited about kind of small wins.
Small wins. I think it was like 25 plus VAT a month. And I remember like cracking open the champagne. Champagne probably cost more than the fee, wouldn't it?
I love that. But that first sale is like gold dust. It's like the oxygen for the business. I've made a sale. This is real. We have money.
Yeah.
People want us. It's unbelievable when you get that first money coming in and it starts to build.
Definitely.
And
then, you don't really get that excitement anymore. I just reflecting back now, kind of it just seems normal to be getting kind of clients knocking on our doors and things. But at the time, we were so ecstatic if we got a phone call or email in.
No one rung me. And I was like, I put myself out there, and like you think, okay, I've got my phone, people are going to ring, I'm a proper business now, but no one rings, no one wants you. You have to go out there and get them. And I think it is like 3, 4, 5, 6 years until the phone starts to ring of you putting yourself out there. And I don't think people realize that of what they're getting themselves into when they're starting a business. And maybe it's a good job they don't. Otherwise, would they go through it is my question, because you've got to win the clients. They don't come to you. If you build it, they will come is the biggest business myth out there. Thank you, Field of Dreams and Wayland's World.
Love that. You definitely have to take a step back to go forward, I think, with building a business.
Yeah.
You have to realise that the short term you're going to take a hit, but in the long term, hopefully it will pay off if you keep at it.
Yeah. And then when you get like a client base as well, you get referrals. Like, it's weird how it works. Like, at the start, you want loads of business. And then 7 years on, you're like, oh, we don't need as much business anymore, but we're getting all these referrals through. So it's weird how that works. It
is, yeah. And at the start, we would take on literally anything. So any kind of tax question, anything, all sorts of different like organisations, so like charity accounts, etc. We'd just grab at anything. But now we can be more selective about what we want to take on and where we think kind of the business is going. Because obviously you can't, tax and accounting is such a broad spectrum, and you can't be
you can't be an expert in everything. We know what we're good at, and so I think we're kind of niching now, where we're like, do you know what, we're good at this, this, and this, instead of we'll take on 100 different things. And I feel like doing that, you provide a much better service, because you've trained in these specific areas, and so we're getting very good at what we do. I think that's so big-headed, isn't it? Yeah. God, we're good.
Well, I think it happens, and you do. It's very un-British to say you're good at what you do, but there does become a stage where you've got to own it. Like, I delivered startup workshops for a decade, and there does come a stage where you go, actually, if you want to start a business, I am good at this. I know how to help people start businesses. I know how to help people get going. But it still feels strange saying that, especially from a British background where you're taught never to brag, never to shout. But if you're not going to shout, who's going to shout for you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
And I think,
hopefully Emma shouts
yeah.
for me. At least.
Apparently I'm loud, but I don't see it
No.
anyway. But I think clients actually or customers actually like it when you're confident, and like it when you're kind of, this is what I do, this is who I am, this is what I can provide you. Like I think they can sense if you're not confident and you're not kind of good at what you do.
I think they also like it when you say, do you know what? I don't think I'm a good fit for your business. I think we couldn't help you. So the people that you can help, you're super confident you can help them, and someone you can't help, you're super confident that, do you know what? Let me recommend someone else that can help you.
Yeah.
I always remember I was pitching. I don't think I've really told many people about this yet, but I was pitching a TV show, and the showrunner for the TV show I was working with on the pitch, she'd just won an Emmy. She was unbelievable, and we were doing the pitch, and her comment was, "People buy confidence. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go in there and they will buy your confidence that you can do this, that you are the person to help, that you are the people, the company." And I think we underestimate that as small business owners, the importance of confidence in our pitching. Because if you're not confident in what you do, how can you expect your client to be confident that you're going to be able to do it for them?
I 100% agree with that. I think being confident as well enables you to charge the prices that you want to charge too. So often if you're underconfident, you might lower your prices to try and get the job, which is kind of one of the things we did at the start. We weren't pricing probably in the most profitable way.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
I think
Thanks for the Tesla, Alan.
Because we were one of your very early clients. I remember at the time I'd had some very bad advice. I was very upset with my accountant at the time. He'd given me some very bad advice. It didn't work. He wasn't advising me. Didn't feel like I was going anywhere. I think also he probably thought I was too small to waste his time on. Like, I was only really just getting going as a sole trader, but it wasn't working. So I was out searching for an accountant. I was like, I need an accountant. I need an accountant. And I'd created this little PowerPoint of our financial position with Katie and I and all our businesses. And we were out searching for an accountant. And then I think we saw something like, oh, Katie goes, oh, Emma's starting an accountancy firm. Like, wicked. Let's meet for a coffee and chat. And we showed you our little PowerPoint, and you said you could help us.
Yeah, that was brilliant. It just had you and Katie as you had pictures of yourselves and all of your kind of other things you were doing off it, and it was brilliant. I loved how you represented yourselves, and I was like, yes, I want to work with these guys. But yeah, I think you were one of my first clients, and yeah, it's great that you're still with us.
It just made it easier for me. Like, having a visualization of, like, okay, here's our faces, here's our businesses, here's our rental properties, here's our this, here's our that, this is how it all flows. It made it simpler for me, because, like, how do you explain that stuff to an accountant so they understand what you're trying to do? It's really difficult to explain all those different elements of it.
It is.
And
you'd be surprised. Most people don't explain it like that, so they just have it all in their head and forget something. Like, oh, I've got a rental property. Oops.
yes, I've not done the books for 3 years. Can you help me pull them together? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So
we get that a lot.
Right. I've told you some part of your story on some of the courses that we've run over the years. Like, there was one big thing that really helped you grow towards the start. I'm interested to know, what do you think was the biggest thing that helped you grow?
So I think towards the start, we mentioned it was kind of getting involved on the Facebook groups and recommendations. But then the thing that really, I think, spurred us on, I think one of them was the Google reviews. So kind of listing our business on Google, creating a better website for ourselves, because previously we'd built one with a really clunky kind of server, and then so now we had a really kind of good website, and Google kind of listing and Google reviews really helped, I think
if you're if you're looking to buy something, Alan, what's the first thing you do? And the first
Google
thing
it.
I do is, so I'll Google it, and then I'll also look at the reviews.
Ask friends
Like
and ask reviews. Yeah.
so recommendation or Google and reviews, right? So why is Amazon so successful? It's because it's got the reviews on there, and people can make like a choice based on, what people have written about the product. And so that, I think that's really, really important. And that's the way that the world works now. I think that was, a good step to get the Google reviews and to kind of represent ourselves well online.
Yeah.
Well, I remember you emailing me. Emma emailed me and said, "Can you leave me a Google review?" And I thought, yeah, of course, you're amazing. But I never would have done that. I never would have thought to do that proactively. If I do now, but at that time, I never would have thought to proactively go, "I love Millwood May, let's leave them a review." You have to ask for it. And I think that's the mistake everyone listening to this makes, and I've made in the past, is you're just good and you expect that to be good enough, but you don't get what you don't ask for. So you created the Google business profile, you got yourself on there, you asked for reviews, you did the work to make yourself top of those listings. So if people search for accountant Wokingham, you were the number one thing that came up.
Yeah, you do a good job and you'd ask someone for a review, as part of the process. And or you wouldn't just send them an email saying, please could you leave a review. You'd try and speak to them personally, potentially, to get them to leave a review, because often, I don't know, I've been asked to leave reviews and it's something you're like, yeah, I'll get around to, but you never get around to doing it. But if you personally ask them to do it, then it's kind of a bit more likely to get one.
Yeah, you want to make it as easy as possible for people to leave reviews as well. So you don't just go, hey, can you leave a review? You go, hey, could you leave a review? I'll send you over a link, click on the link and it'll take you 2 minutes, So you want to, like I say, make it as easy as possible.
I love that. So I've just, as a test, Googled, I'd opened a private window, so it was completely fair test, and I've Googled accountant Wokingham. Do you know who comes up top at accountant Wokingham?
Well, I think they've got ads actually, so we haven't got ads.
Yeah, but how many people click on the ads? How many people actually click on the ads? They all skip over. I skip over them. I'm like not clicking on the paid ones unless they're like I go down the ones below first, and if they're not right, then maybe as a last resort I go to the adverts. But you're right. There's 3 paid adverts above, and then Millwood May is the first on the maps and the first on the listings, which is incredible. And if you look at it, you've got 73 5-star reviews. 73. And the other 2 accountancies, number 2 and 3, have 2 and 4 reviews. So you've got 73 and they've got 2 and 4, and you've just collected them over the years. I think it's incredible what you've done to build that up. And like, what kind of business did that actually lead to? Like, you've done that work, you've put yourself out there. Did it actually help?
100%.
Yeah, we get so many inquiries.
We've kind of made a rod for our own back almost. But no, it was massively helpful, especially I think a few years ago when we were kind of pushing to grow and grow. I think that's when we really kind of needed it, and we needed to kind of kickstart the growth. But on average, we probably get we get quite a few inquiries, don't we, each week?
A few a week.
So, and these are kind of people that have just Googled us. So we get kind of most of our clients are either through Google or through recommendations.
Which is fabulous. I'm so impressed. If you're listening to this right now and you don't have a Google business profile and you're a local business, this is the important bit. Like, it really helps if you're a local business. Like, it works really well. Accountant Wokingham. It works for bakery town name. It works for like insert business photography town name. It works really well. So if you can set that up and get reviews and get yourself up the list, it can work incredibly well to attract clients.
Yeah. Another tip that Emma's kind of alluded to was the Facebook groups. So this at the start, right? So you want to keep costs to an absolute minimum at the start, right? And so yeah, big advocate of that, are you, Alan?
Big advocate. Just don't spend
Yeah.
any money, make money.
Yes.
People have this confusion, like it should not cost you to run a business. Like the whole point is the business generates income, but they then immediately, when they're starting out, they set up for a loan, they set up for subscriptions to things, they pay for a website, pay for this. Then all of a sudden they got hundreds of pounds going out a month and it costs them to run a business. And I find it crazy. Like, stop spending stuff until you've sold stuff is what I keep repeating and chanting to people. So when you said that, I felt like a mini round of applause. Yes, keep the cost down, get the clients. You made me very happy.
Well, we like to make you happy,
That's
Alan.
it. So yeah, we'd go on, we'd join all the local Facebook groups, and then there's people asking for services and people like, does anyone know someone who can do my patio? Does anyone know a good plumber? Does anyone know a good accountant? Yes. And what you can do is, if you go to the top search box and you kind of look, and you put like accountant in speech marks, you can search that whole group for any post that says accountant, right? Or any search that says plumber, or like specific words. And then what I would suggest is, what usually happens is there's like 20 or 30 comments on these posts, so you can't kind of differentiate yourself. So how do you differentiate yourself? You private message them. You slip into their DMs, Alan, right?
Slip into the DMs. You just made my day, because this is the opposite of what everyone does. They just add a comment and go, I'm an accountant, and then expect that person to do the work. And we should stop expecting other people to do the work, and we should start doing the work. At the start, they're not going to come to you. You've got to go to them.
Yeah. Do you know what would be fantastic as well, which we didn't do? Would be slip into the DMs, right? And then what you could do is post like a link of like a YouTube video, for example, right? Saying who you are, what you do, and maybe like a few reviews if you can get that from people. So I don't know, we'd probably pick you, Alan, if we were going to do that, right? So we'd get Alan to go, Millward Mango are absolutely brilliant, and this is why XYZ, you know? So then they are.
Can we just cut that bit from the podcast to send that to them?
So you could literally, send them a direct message with that link to a video, a little bit about you, and that is a free way of advertising. And it worked really well for us at the start of our business.
Yeah. I love that. And it's the proactive piece of search. Find someone who's looking for what you do and then reach out and connect with them. And I think I'd love everyone to hear that. I don't care what platform it happens on. It could be on Facebook, it could be on Twitter, it could be on Instagram, it could be on LinkedIn. It does not matter. It is using the search bar to find someone who needs what you do and has the problem you fixed, and then individually messaging them. And there is so much power in that. So much power. It's unbelievable. I don't think we do it. We just wait for business to come to us.
Yeah.
So you're 8 years in now. That's a long time. Are you still friends? Do you still like each other? Have you thought about having a business divorce after that initial double date?
You get less for murder, don't
you? So I do sometimes. So we share in our office. We're in a separate room now. We used to all be together, but now we've got our kind of own office because it kind of separates us from the team a bit. But sometimes whenever Ryan doesn't turn up, I do sometimes think, I've got a day without This is nice.
It's the first time you've told me
I
this.
know. I'm sorry.
It's a challenge, isn't it? It always goes in phases, because sometimes you need time just to focus on your own tasks. But then after you've done that for a while, you're like, okay, I'm bored of being on the office on my own. Where's my friends? I need someone to talk to. But then if you've got someone all the time asking questions or chatting to you, you're like, I can't get on with my work. So I think it always goes in phases. And too much time on your own, you end up missing Ryan, I'm sure.
Maybe. No, but you are right. I think it's great because I say he doesn't annoy me that much, but we it's good because we can both bounce ideas off each other. And I'll have questions on some things that he'll be really good at, and he'll have questions on things that I'm good at. So, and also if we're going into something together, like some sort of, I don't know, business thing that's happening.
Podcast, maybe.
Podcast, we'll be there chatting away. So yeah, it's great having a business partner, because if I was doing it all on my own, it would be quite stressful, and there's no one to kind of download onto. Especially when you've got issues with clients or whatever's annoying you, you can just kind of have a bit of a rant and then get on with your work.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you both, which I think is actually important, because my dad had several business partnerships that completely tanked. Different people stole from him. It tanked for different reasons. I'm sure like all sorts of mess went on. Like, you've made it 8 years. Simon and I have made it a similar amount of time. We started the business 10 years ago, but he only came back 8 or 7 years ago. Like, what do you think has allowed you to work together? Like, why has this partnership worked when so many others fail?
So I think we are quite similar in our values, and kind of what we want to achieve from the business. I always say when two or more people kind of set up a business, get a partnership agreement in place, because it's like getting a prenup, right? Which is weird, right? But doing that, going through that process, makes you get on the same page. And if you're not a right fit, it's best to find out before you get into this relationship than kind of get into it. And actually, like, say the business is doing really well, maybe one person is like, okay, well, let's invest it back in the business, whereas one partner could be like, let's live it up, so at that point, it's really important to be on the same page. I think Emma and I just got very lucky that we both are on the same page.
Yeah, I think we're naturally of the kind of, let's reinvest it, let's just put everything back into the business and try and grow kind of in the way we want to. I think we've kind of become aligned in our goals, haven't we, as well, over the years. Like, we're not, one of us isn't striving to a multi-million-pound business, and the other one's just like, no, I don't want a team or anything. We're aligned on that as well.
Yeah. I'd say another thing that we do quite well, and this goes for any relationship as well, is to communicate. If you don't communicate, then this is it. Things build it up until someone blows, and then the relationship will break up, right? But I think that if I've got an issue, I won't just let it simmer. I'll kind of raise it with Emma, and I'd like to think vice versa as well. So that is also another good thing to do, is to communicate.
Yeah.
We've
had, as you said, we've had disagreements in the past, but I think those have been fairly short-lived, and we've both kind of talked them through at the time.
Yeah, and then I just agree with Emma. That's what happens in the end.
I don't quite believe that's the actual truth.
I'm sounding like a real boss woman on the phone
here. I think you're a good team. I really do think you're a good team. And it's important, actually, to speak up. I had an incident where there was one person that I was working with for a period of time, and then they went quiet and disappeared. I didn't really know what had happened. I didn't reach out. And then I saw they started the same business that we were running together in competition against me. Then I did reach out and go, what happened? And they told me there was something that I did that really offended them. But I didn't even know. I didn't know I'd offended them. I didn't know I'd upset them. And I'd done a bad job communicating, and they hadn't told me that I'd upset them. And that relationship died and went because, I had my part in it. I wasn't good at communicating to start with, which caused the problem. And then they didn't communicate that I'd caused a problem. And I'm not a mind reader, and neither are they. And it completely fell to pieces. And
I think that happens a lot in business, in other relationships. It's easy to see how it does happen as well, because sometimes that is the easiest path, just to kind of go along and not speak up and not say, this is annoying me, or this has to change. It's definitely a good lesson.
Yeah.
it's the easiest path in life, but it leads to the biggest problems long
Yeah.
term. And one of the sayings I've started repeating as I've got older and hopefully wiser is your success in life is directly related to the number of uncomfortable moments you can make yourself go through. Because it's uncomfortable to talk about this stuff, but you cannot get to where you want to get to unless you talk about this stuff. So I think that lesson, I'd love everyone to hear this, like that lesson of communicate. If you have a problem, tell the other person, talk to them about it. Don't just hide it. Don't just think it'll go away, because it won't without doing something about it.
Yeah.
Now, I want to shift gears slightly. I have a question for you, which is, you have, in a way, a very privileged position of being able to see across many different industries, many different businesses. And without telling us names and details, like, why do businesses fail? What are some of the generic reasons why you think businesses that you've done the accountants for have disappeared? Like, you don't have to give us details, but I'm really curious, because there's gold to be learnt from
Yeah.
these
Great
things that
question.
haven't gone right. And I'm sure you've thought about this over the years.
Yeah. The main thing I think that kills businesses is cash flow, actually. So some businesses are actually quite profitable, but they either they're not getting the money in, they're making sales, they're quite profitable, they're not getting the money in, or they're living it up, they're taking too much money out of the business, where they're living beyond their means. It, in the first few years, what you want to do, right, is build up a little buffer of cash just in case there's like an issue or something happens. And then, I don't know, it just gives you
Yeah.
confidence to kind of try things because actually you've got this buffer behind you. So yeah, I would say cash flow is the main one. Have you got any others, Emma? Or I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. It's funny because I haven't seen many businesses fail, but I think
Is it because you're the accountant? Is that why? God, she's good.
yeah, pat on the back there.
All
No.
my businesses fail. I don't know why.
No, but I have seen businesses close, and often it's maybe often if people have got a business on the side that they're not 100% committed to,
Yes.
potentially, is where I've seen it just kind of fizzle out and then they've just closed it down, I think you've got to grow a business. I feel like you do need to go kind of all in at some point to have a successful business. You can't be doing lots of different things all at once. Some people make it work, but it's quite rare to do that. So if you've got a full-time job, it's really hard to kind of grow a business where it's a really successful business, I find.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a lot of effort starting a business, and it takes a lot of time to kind of get it off the ground. So it's going to take you a few months of getting absolutely no rewards whatsoever, but the rewards will kind of come further down the line. But if you kind of half-heart it and kind of you're not in it, you're not giving it 100%, then yeah, it's not going. It usually will not get there.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to build on what you said and add this is the mini experiment that I think people don't come to the conclusion the mini experiment is not working quick enough, and they let it drag on as a side hustle for years, doing little bits and pieces without closing it down. And I think actually it's coming to the conclusion, you've started a business, is it going to work or not, yes or no? And then either commit to making it happen or close it down quicker, rather than just let it like trickle along in some kind of state that isn't really serving you or the clients for a long time. And I think it's painful and it's tough because you put a lot of energy and time in, which creates this sunk cost fallacy of I've sunk my time in it, so I should keep going. But actually, like, let's either shut this puppy down or there is something here, let's make it happen. And I think making that choice at some stage when you've thrown some energy into it is so important. So important.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason why you can't just keep kind of a hobby business going and just kind of at a low level, but just, I guess you got to question, is the effort, is it worth it? Is what I'm putting in what I'm getting out? And often you're probably putting in more effort than you're getting out if it's kind of a low level kind of hobby business, potentially. There might be exceptions to that, but
yeah. For me, you want to give 100% and fail quickly is my bit of advice, is what I'd say.
Yeah.
I love that. I love fail quickly. We call it fail fast and fail cheap. Like if it's going to go wrong, let's make it happen really quickly and without going into debt. Let's fail fast and fail cheap. And then we learn and move on.
Correct.
I feel like we've learned the most where we've made mistakes in the business. So we've kind of had there's been a lot of mistakes we've made along the way, but that's where you learn the most from it. So if you're not failing, then you're not learning, and then you're never going to kind of learn those lessons. So
we've learned a lot of lessons.
We've learned a lot of lessons. So tell me what some of the biggest lessons you've learned on this journey to building Millwood May. Like, what have you learned? What have been the painful experiences that have become your teachers?
So we've got a few.
Do you want to go with one?
I will go with one. So I think, we obviously we've got a team now. So we've got a team of 9. There's 9 of us at the moment. And when we first started taking people on, we didn't really have a structure in place to kind of see how they were progressing, and also to give feedback and for them to give feedback to us. So I feel like the people that we took on at the start, we potentially weren't kind of giving the same level of support to people that we're taking on now. And I think it's really important when you've got a team to enable people to have a kind of regular catch up with yourselves and air anything if you're not happy with something, or give them regular feedback on how they're doing, and enable them to kind of feedback to us on things they might not be happy with or things that are going well. And then also we recently had kind of a quarterly meeting where we sent the team away to a coffee shop without us, and we kind of got them to give us basically things that they're kind of happy with in the business, things that we could be improving on kind of as a team and also as a business. And they all kind of had half an hour to just go away and chat together and come back. And I think that has been like a really valuable exercise for us. There were a few kind of shocks or home truths or whatever you want to say, but like it was really good to kind of hear that feedback, because we might not have had that opportunity in the past. So I think it's things that we've implemented a few things since then to kind of cover some of those areas.
I think it's really important that we weren't there during that conversation as well, so that people felt confident enough to kind of raise awkward things, right? And kind of have a chat with the team about it. And so, it's great to find out about things that we could improve upon that we probably would have never kind of knew was a problem,
Yeah.
I love that idea. I love that idea. Send them off for coffee and tea on their own. Send them to collect ideas about what you're doing good and bad, and then bring them back. I'm not sure many business owners are going to be excited about that prospect, but it sounds like one of the most valuable exercises you can do.
It was a bit scary when they came back with like 5 pages of writing. Like, wow.
Yeah, some notes. They had like a post-it notes with the good things on, and then a whole ream of paper with all the negatives.
But I think it's critical if you're employing people to get a structure in place so that people feel heard, is what I think is the main thing.
And it's difficult because people having the conversation, like we said a little bit earlier, about people having the confidence to speak up. Like, we're trained, especially I think in Britain, we are trained not to speak out. We are trained not to rock the boat, to do those things. So it's actually quite difficult for people to do that, to speak out, to say, I don't think this is right, I don't think that is right. And you've created a structure, you've created space for them to be able to do that, which I think is truly admirable. And I would say even the same for clients. Like, clients find it hard to say these things as well. You had a look between each other as I said that. What happened there?
Do you want to say it? Or?
You go for it.
So at the end of every job now, and I think we were doing it
already,
before, but it's we ask them for feedback. We say like, hey, what did we do? What did we do well? What did we do poorly? What could we be doing better? So there's been a few ideas from clients that we've got that we've implemented, and this is a really small example, but one of the guys, I do management accounts with him, and he said, "You guys are fantastic. We're really, really happy with you. However," he said, "when you, yeah." However, I'm leaving. No.
Can you pass me to Emma? I've heard better things about her.
However, I am more of a visual person, and you're presenting the management accounts in a number format, and so would it be could you do it more visually? And so the next management accounts that I do for him, I'm going to kind of do some graphs about, okay, how's your gross profit? How's your profit? What are the reserves in the company going? So you can kind of see, is it an upward trajectory or are they going down? So I think that's a really good point as well. I think I'll see what it's like and then potentially roll it out for all clients,
That's where we've had some of our biggest breakthroughs, is when I've gone away and taken a spreadsheet full of the data and created a chart out of it. And you see the chart and you can immediately go, why is that bit lower? Or why is that bit higher? And you can visually see those bits. And we don't all have the brains that we can look at the data and see it, but seeing it as a chart. And we've had, like, I took to one client, we had like sign up rates for the course. And it's like, why does this course have like half the people signing up to it and people not showing up? There's a problem here. But we never would have known that unless I'd created that chart, unless I'd done that. So I think it's critical to like visualize this stuff. I love a good chart,
definitely.
A good graph.
Do you do a chart for Alan?
No, so that's one thing that I've heard from. This is it. Like Brian having that chat with his client has now given me ideas about things I can do for my clients.
Are you sure you don't want to change accountant, Alan? Come over to the dark side.
I would never leave Emma. She's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
A phenomenal triathlete, maybe.
She is like,
I'll take that.
Yeah, a phenomenal triathlete, phenomenal accountant, and phenomenal friend. That is so look, we've had an incredible chat. I love how open you've been with this. Final sort of closing thoughts. If you were speaking to people who are starting a business, like, what's a closing thought from each of you about tips you've learned on the way, what you would do? And I know you've given so much already, so we're so grateful. But final closing thought for the audience who are building businesses and on this journey that we're still on together.
Cool. So I would say, I've already said this, but fail quickly. So you want to be trying lots of different things, right? Try it. If it doesn't work, move on to the next thing. And you also want to be constantly kind of improving. And the way you do that is to fail quickly, right? So, hey, this worked, this didn't work, and kind of, learn from it. Yeah.
I would say kind of identify what you want to be doing as a business and who your kind of client or customers are, and then try and focus in on kind of what you're providing them. So really kind of like tailor your services to the customer and be thinking kind of does this kind of help them? And then I think we already said, don't undersell yourself at the start. So there's a tendency to kind of go really cheap at the start, but actually people don't always buy cheap. They buy kind of, confidence. So that's a key one. And then finally get someone that you can bounce ideas off. I think that is critical, even if it's not a business partner, but just someone maybe who's starting a business at the same time as you, and you can kind of have regular catch-ups to kind of download as like what's going well, what's not going well. Because I think sometimes it can be hard if you're just kind of caught up in it all on yourself, and it's a lot to kind of take on yourself because there is so much to think about.
I always love that when we met for breakfast at Bill's in Reading and we had a 2-hour chat about our different businesses over coffee and a breakfast. It always made my day, and I always left feeling on top of the world after those breakfast meetings.
I love those breakfast meetings. And I was gutted when they had to stop, I think due to COVID and then you travelling, but hopefully we can reignite them at some point, Alan.
Definitely. Just come to Argentina. I'll buy you breakfast. Meet us
Might be
here.
on the business.
Yeah, it's a business trip. Why not?
See?
Right, so going to be daggers now.
So thank you so much, team. You have been incredible. For the people listening, where do they find out more about your accountancy firm? They can obviously Google Accountant Wokingham and Millwood May comes up. But if they wanted to find out more about you, where do they go?
So I think our website is the best point of call. So it's www.millwardmay.co.uk. That's Millward spelt Millward. I'm laughing because I always have to spell that and people never get it right.
Yeah,
And
Millwood, Millard. Yeah.
Millwood. So yeah, that's the best. And yeah, you can send us an email through there or send a chat. And then yeah, we'll come back to you.
So the closing thought for me is just exactly as Ryan has said, fail fast and fail cheap. The quicker you get out there and do things and learn the lessons on the way, the quicker you will get to the business of your dreams. So please take the advice, the stories, the energy and the passion from Ryan and Emma and go out there and fail forwards into your next thing. Thanks for listening to The Rebel Entrepreneur. Go build a business, make some money, and have some fun along the way. You can have any life you want to. Choose to build something cool. Choose to take action. Choose to work to make your dreams become reality. Stand out. Be different. Be yourself. Be a rebel entrepreneur.